Hi, welcome everybody to Needle Drop Nation. This is episode 5. It's 1968, and these are the songs that defined a turbulent year. I'm joined as always by my great friend Jody. Jody, welcome to the podcast.
Hi,
it's going to
Nick.
be a good one. I'm excited.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic one. 1968 is such an interesting year. Everybody here is in for a treat. We've got a magnificent playlist that we put together for that, turbulent year that we are going to acknowledge and celebrate. A lot of great new artists that emerged around that year. Great films that really shifted the world, the way the world thought too, as well. So definitely, we can definitely start off about what's been going on in the UK and the US. So Nick, take it away.
Yeah, there's so much. First of all, I just wanted to say a shout out to Maria Jose Zaza Dirksen. She's a wonderful friend, and she said she was born in 1968. Please, could she have Hey Jude? Well, of course. This is what we love. When someone says, "Can I have something?" we will put it on our place. Hey Jude is there. It comes from one of our favourite albums, the White Album, which was a double album. So there was a whole ton of Beatles songs all released. When you think back, Jody, it's incredible. Just the sheer volume of songs these guys were producing. It was just constant, and they were. The thing was, they were really good. I got to admit, one of my favorites.
Amazing. Well, you don't only have like 2 songwriters, you got 4 songwriters in there. And the great thing about the White Album, Hey Jude, Maria, I agree with you. Hey Jude is one of my favorite tracks of all time from the Beatles. You will hear the 4 of them. Their songwriting, you celebrate the Beatles, all of them. Paul, George, Ringo, John, and you're going to hear it through the music and also from the writing, which is amazing. You really get to finally see their characteristics, their individuality in the White Album. So yeah, definitely a great album.
Great. So Hey Jude in particular, I played it on the bass a few times. I love it because it's a nice simple one to play, I'll be honest. But we're chatting, so it's all about poor old Julian, young Julian, John Lennon's son. So Paul wrote it to try and cheer him up because his parents going through a rather sticky divorce, which is what a wonderful gift to be able to just write a song. So cool. It's basically where you take your inspiration from. So yeah, that's obviously they're not the first and they won't be the last couple to end up divorced. But the kids, I'm afraid, they always take the brunt of it. And so
they do. They suffer the most when parents do
an amazing song. I absolutely love it. Another cracking one on there I really like, Jody, which is Dear Prudence.
Oh wow. Yes.
Yeah. I just thought that was cool when I heard it by the Beatles. I thought it was even cooler when Susie and the Banshees covered it.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. That is one of the best versions because it still has that psychedelic, mesmerizing, feel to it. The way she did it with the guitars, her band, Budgie and the band members with Susie and the Banshees, and when John sang it and the band did it, you still have that level of psychedelia, in it. Whether it was written in the late 60s and now you're transported to 1983 when that song was released by Susie Sue and the Banshees.
Yeah.
It just resonates, euphoria, to be quite honest.
Was that 83, Mike?
Yes, it was 83.
Wow. We were just kids.
We were, but you know what? We're gonna head there soon. We're gonna head there soon.
If we're on 1968 now, it's not going to be too far away. It will be racing up there. So, any other great songs on the White Album, Jody?
Oh well, there is. I Am the Walrus, Cuckoo Cuckoo. Talk about experimental. I think it was very experimental, and it's funny because when I was in kindergarten, and we were listening to it on the radio, on a classic rock radio at the time, and this is the early 70s, mid 70s. Kids, okay, so some of my friends were at home. We were celebrating my birthday party, and it was hysterical because, like, they say "cuckoo, ka-choo." They like thinking it's a kid song. I'm like, I am the walrus. You are the Eggman, and you see, like, the kids will be like, and then they go "cuckoo, ka-choo." I'm like, so it was interpreted as a storytelling song, for kids, but lo and behold, I wonder what the inspiration behind writing "I Am the Walrus" was truly about.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think there's probably something going on. I think someone was smoking something.
Definitely inspiration there. There you
Never
go.
understood it, but what a great song! Yeah,
Absolutely.
And another one, as we know, I'm a big Stones fan as well, and
Yes.
they released "Beggar's Banquet" in 1968, and that had a couple of absolutely banging tunes. "Jumping Jack Flash," it's a gas.
Yes. Yes.
Which is so cool because that is, 5 English blokes and they're having a gas, because I can't always say that having a gas is an American word, but they've been in the States for quite a bit, touring around, so I think that's where they picked that up. And the other absolute one of my favourite songs is "Sympathy for the Devil." Just that rhythm, the darkness of it, the whole thing of it is just like, yeah. And when I remember seeing them play it live, so of course they always played a longer version, and it's just that rhythm, and you kind of get into that. It is really hypnotic.
Yeah.
Fantastic rhythm they got going on there.
It's almost like it leads to a ritual when you actually hear that song. It goes doo doo, and you hear the background, and then you hear the chorus. I mean, that whole thing. It's almost like it's leading to a ritual that the devil is going to seduce you.
Yeah.
And it's a story. Again, it's a direct message, which I love.
Yeah, it really reflects turbulent times, doesn't it?
It did, and it was satire. The song itself was a form of satire about what was going on in the world in 1968. A lot of protests still that we see. We had major assassinations for really significant political leaders. Yes, in the United States, and then Nick. In the UK, there was that famous speech that was heard.
That's right. We had the Enoch Powell "Rivers of Blood" speech, which was it caused some race riots, because basically he was saying that under the yoke of the black man we'll see rivers of blood, and it was really a bizarre. Well, not bizarre. It was a real turning point. And the crazy thing is, when you look back in history, it was actually really popular. But his views, whilst in today's world we think, were, well, I wouldn't go as far as call them really racist, but they were certainly very, very right wing on that score. But they were also the views held by, the vast majority of the white population, and that was seeing the country. All these immigrants were coming from the Commonwealth countries, so they were coming from like the Caribbean, Pakistan, India, all these places that quite rightly they were allowed to come in and settle. But when we talk about having a multicultural society, I don't know whether it's the same in the States, but it was a case of the Indians stayed with the Indians, the Pakistanis stayed with the Pakistanis, the Caribbean stayed with the Caribbean, and parts of London were becoming, very, very split by race. And there was the dockers, the London dock workers, who were a very powerful bunch of people in those days. London being such a massive port, they actually marched on Downing Street to to complain about it all as well. So yeah, fascinating time. But yeah, we look back at it now and say, wow, that was very incendiary speech for sure. But yeah, he hit a nerve and caused some race riots into the bargain. How does that work in the US? Because you have your own race riots.
Oh yeah. So basically, what's going on here? You see here in with the civil rights movement that year, April 4th, 1968. Reverend, Martin Luther King Jr. Was assassinated, by James Earl Ray, and it really stirred a huge amount of uproar and upheaval. This man has been leading marches with people from the early 60s, 1963, up to the time he passed away. And it not only caused a stir within the United States, but, on international news, it really stirred a lot of concern as well, because there were other things that were going on. We were still involved in the Vietnam War. And then 1968 hits the year of the Tet Offensive, when North Vietnam and allies in the South were, North Vietnam and the Viet Cong in the South actually attacked major cities. This is when the Vietnam War was exposed at its most vulnerable point on live television, on American television, internationally. And I think that was the crux that got the whole world realizing that this is not the right direction for the US to be involved in whatsoever. So that also led to, in the Democratic Convention, where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was also representing the Democratic Party, major protest, anti-war protest, the result of a civil rights leader being killed who's fighting for peace and justice. This had caused a lot of, hatred, a lot of hurt, where this was the time when the National Democratic Convention in 1968 had major protests back to back to back. And then, unfortunately, later that year, on June 5th, 1968, a young politician, Robert F. Kennedy, who was running for the Democratic ticket, was assassinated. And he was very young. And that also caused a lot of tension too, as well, because he was the hope of promise, because we saw a lot of conservatism with leaders, Lyndon P. Johnson, even John F. JFK. There was the hope of a better tomorrow. He also had conservative views, but Robert was somebody who represented what the generation, the baby boomers who were becoming that adult, what he would represent. And he was assassinated that year. Yeah. So in the United States, yes, it was that's why it was definitely a turbulent year for 1968.
It was. So I didn't. How young was he, Robert Kennedy?
Robert Kennedy Jr. He was in his 30s already. So yes, and just to make sure, yes. He was in his 30s. I don't have the exact age, but he was definitely in his 30s when he passed away. And if I'm not mistaken, John F. Kennedy, who was also assassinated in 1963, our president, was assassinated. He was in his 40s.
Yeah. So young. I've read a great deal about John F. Kennedy, but not so much his brother. So that is quite amazing. I didn't realise he was that young. That's incredible. Let's lighten it a touch, Jody.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
I'm looking at the playlist. Okay, and the playlist is going to be in the show notes, guys. So you can play along. Put the playlist on in the background while you're listening to Jody and I. We've got some absolutely cracking songs. We've got Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye. We've got Aretha Franklin's in there. Say It
Yes.
Loud, James Brown.
Brown.
These are some cracking songs. And it
Oh,
shows
yes.
us, Motown is still alive and well and taking names.
Oh, absolutely. And one of my favorite bands that was on the top of the charts as well in the US and UK, specifically in the US, and who came from San Francisco was Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, yeah, yes.
You're talking about some new bands that came out around 1968, had a huge inspiration of R&B artists, even up to this day, with the funk. And the great thing is that they combine funk and they combined rock, and they were a great band. Yes.
Wow, that was Dance to the Music we got.
Yes, exactly. And there were also some other bands. Yeah, oh my gosh.
All Along the Watchtower.
Young Eric Clapton, Cream. White Room.
Of course.
Yes. Talk about psychedelic song there, right there.
I forgot to check it out. I'm pretty certain he played on one of the tracks on the White Album as well.
Eric Clapton. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's played with most people.
Collaborations
with
Eric Clapton. Absolutely.
So yeah, now we could have we might spark the debate as to who is the greatest guitarist of all time. I would say he would have to be up there along with Hendrix.
Eric Clapton.
Oh God.
Yep,
yeah,
definitely. No, definitely.
Slow Hand.
Yeah. Jimmy would be up there too. Jimi Hendrix.
He would indeed. Even though we talked last week, we talked about him setting fire to his guitar. He obviously got a new one because he was in the charts in '68 as well. He probably had more than one guitar. Actually, I saw it. It was I saw something the other day, and it was one of the Pink Floyd guitars sold for a massive amount.
$14 million. I read that on the news too. Yes.
What?
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness.
David Gilmour's guitar. Oh my gosh. And he was, I tell you, in 1968, early, you're talking about early Pink Floyd. David Gilmour was the best looking member, I must admit. Pink Floyd.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, we can put him in that amazing guitarist genre as well.
Yep. David Gilmour. Yep. Yeah, it's incredible. And then we had Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild. Talk about turbulent times. That song, Born to Be Wild. Everybody's let's just do it.
Karaoke favorite, isn't it? You're just going to grab whatever's to hand for your microphone, blast it
Exactly. Get rid of that angst. Just celebrate.
Yeah, totally. Right, before we get back to more music, there were some amazing films.
Absolutely.
Wow. We're talking one of my favorite, bit of a long one. One of my favorites, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Wow.
HAL, the robot. What an incredible film! I remember reading the book as a young man before I actually saw the film, and you know how people go, book's better than the film, and blah blah blah.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I think they're both the same on that one. Both hard to follow.
No, it's interesting though. But it's hard to follow because there was hardly any dialogue. That's what made 2001: Space Odyssey, an interesting film of its time. Not that much dialogue, to be quite honest. A lot of music, amazing soundtrack. Also utilizing classical music. And it's so funny because when you think about the science fiction films that begin in a ship, has a very similar intro. You'll see, like with Alien.
Yeah.
It inspired several sci-fi films, and the one that comes into mind with 2001: Space Odyssey is Alien. And remember, we were going through that big race again of who's going to land on the moon.
Of course, of course.
So that was a perfect timing. Yep, Perfect timing.
Yeah, space was a very big one because think about it, we didn't actually know what was on the moon in those days. We many 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 people believed it was made of cheese.
I was going to say that too. I thought parents just said that to children to make them just be quiet. Like, you see those craters? That's cheese.
It's
You see
cheese.
that hole like you see with cheddar?
Yeah.
That's cheese. And I said, they just said that to just shut us up as kids, right? Oh, hell no. No, that they did not know what the moon was made of.
I know. It's like how the cow jumped over it. I have no idea.
Yeah, how did they get the cows up there?
Yeah, that's just very very strange. But
No,
yeah, no,
it's
you're right. I think some of the music, I must double check it. But I think some of the music in it was Mozart Kleiner backed music.
yes.
Was some of the music in there. Some great classical music. You're right. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely
Yes.
fantastic. And of course, other movies of that year, Rosemary's Baby, Planet of
Oh,
the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, yes. And of course, we had
Fantastic.
a great film. So they're talking about great science fiction films that came out of that year. Planet of the Apes, which is actually one of my favorite science fiction films of all time. It really is a great metaphor for how humans, through racism, imperialism,
Yep.
violence, is translated through a science fiction narrative. And we have amazing actors like Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowell, who starred in Planet of the Apes. Also, what's interesting, it's in the eyes of an astronaut who lands
Yeah.
on this planet, not realizing where he's in. He
Yeah.
feels that he's going through a planet that is run by apes. But it's an interesting story. So, and it was written. I read the book.
Oh,
It was
really?
written by Robert Bouy. It's called Le Planète des Singes, Planet of the Apes. Yes. So
So did you
one of
did you read the French version, Jodie?
You know what's funny? I can speak conversational French. I just haven't practiced it in years. But reading it, I can read it. I could read. Sometimes I'll have to refer back, but I can read some French definitely.
Wow, that is very impressive. I used to live when I lived in Germany. One of our neighbours, Bettina, who was a German, lovely elderly German lady. She was a retired teacher, and she used to. I never liked Harry Potter, I'll be honest, but she she was reading the English version of Harry Potter, and I'm saying, "How do you understand that?" I said, It's got made up words in. They're not even
Mm-hmm.
English words, And she was like, "Oh, it is so much better than the German translation." I'm thinking, "Whoa, I don't even. I'm English and I don't like it at all." But I guess it was quite big, so I can't really complain. I got a little bit off the tangent.
Yes, and then we also had talking about the science fiction films with Planet of the
Yes,
Apes and 2001: Space Odyssey. It was also the year of musical soundtracks as well,
yes,
with another great cast film, The Graduate,
yeah,
with Dustin
exactly, and that's how it comes back because we got on
Catherine
the
Ross.
playlist. We got Simon and Garfunkel, Mrs. Robinson. Exactly,
Mhm.
that was great. That was a great one, wasn't it? Who was a chap in it? I can picture him, but I can't think of his name. In The Graduate,
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
That was the lead character. Yeah, he was. And the storyline is so interesting about being in. It was almost like a love triangle where, you had going to marry, the love of your life, but then you have the mother, played by Anne Bancroft. Hello, another great
Yeah,
actress.
yeah, absolutely. Married to Mel Brooks.
Married to Mel Brooks. There you go. We're gonna play that connection, right?
yeah,
Culture
yeah, we
trivia.
know our actors and actors and directors and how it's all linked in.
Yes. Hmm.
And
And then
who was the younger lady? I can't think of.
that was Catherine Ross, who
Catherine Ross.
played his girlfriend, his fiance, and then she later was in the famous film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which I think came out in 69, 70. Yeah, that won an Oscar too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that wasn't a bad movie, was it? That one.
No, no. I think
I
it's,
love.
this is like the 60s. I think like the Graduate was a
Mm,
representation of the glamorous side
yeah,
of America in 1968, which was really interesting. Talking about it with essential upper middle class family, the complications that are involved in their lives. But yeah, it kind of brought a certain sense of entertainment, even
yeah,
science fiction as a realm for escape, but it also got you to think about a lot of things of what was going on in the world at that time, too.
yeah. Quite amazing. It's amazing how the music intertwines with all these things. So yeah. So we got Mrs. Robinson on the playlist. We got some youngsters as well that came through in 1968. For those of you in the UK particularly, you probably, I don't know whether you know this or not, but we've all heard of Status Quo. Okay, Rick
Yes.
Parfitt, Francis Rossi, rocking all over the world. Bit of a heavy metal band. They opened Live Aid in 1985, but their first single was in 1968, and I think it was like Pictures of Matchstick Men or something like that. It is the most hippie psychedelic song you've ever heard. And if you listen to it, you'll think, that's never the quote. It's like, yeah, I'm afraid it is. Um, so yeah, I don't know whether they ever looked back on that and like pushed it to one side. I'm sure they were very proud of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, you would not believe Status Quo started up with these lovely, very hippie type.
Hmm.
Quite well dressed for hippies, in fairness, but yeah,
Yeah,
very psychedelic
that was
sound.
the same thing with was it Black Sabbath?
Oh, with Ozzy Osbourne, yeah,
I Am Iron Man.
yeah,
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, like it was also they started off with some experimental psychedelic music, and then got into the heavy metal direction. And it's funny because when you think about that genre, well, I think about Spinal Tap. That famous film directed by Rob Reiner. May his soul rest in peace. But it
yes,
is,
cool.
and Ozzy too as well. But yeah, it's so interesting how you see these heavy metal bands, rock legends now started all from the period of
Yes,
hippies and psychedelia
that's
and
it.
what
Yeah,
music they
started
had.
flowers in their hair, tambourines. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank God
Yeah.
they evolved.
No, it's true. It's true.
but we,
And
but we haven't,
what
we
else
haven't
is
got
there
a
that
sorry, we haven't got a Status Quo on our on our playlist,
we will,
but
we could always, yes, we
do
could
have
always
we can add
add
it
it.
on. But we do
Yes,
have Albatross by Fleetwood Mac.
that's
Very,
true.
very,
From Fleetwood
very,
Mac, that
yeah,
is a.
that was a cool one.
It's
So
just
Mick
such a.
Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks, so many stories of what happened to them again when we hit
Oh
the
yes,
80s.
you talk about Fleetwood Mac. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So they were young and together.
That's right. The key
Young and
word is
together.
together.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
The exchange of marriage
overly together.
partners, divorce. Talking about divorce again, it's like how many marriages were formed between the
Yeah,
members.
I know. Another great story. But yeah, no, those and that was they were great songs. We also got oh, I know, lovely one, "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay," Otis Redding.
Hmm.
That's a great song. We got Donovan and the Doors in there as well, but we've got some really good ones. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah. And you got stuff that gets people to, you know, reflect. Aretha Franklin, you better think,
Mm,
you know. And also, you finally hear last episode we talked about um, Gladys Knight and the Pips
yeah,
version of the Ashford and Simpson written song. I heard it through the grapevine. So in
that's right.
19 that was 1967, 1968, Marvin Gaye
Yeah,
does his version of it. And boy, can you tell you with tempo, with mood, it really puts the song in a different context.
yeah,
And
beautiful version.
mhm,
Yeah, you can, yeah, feel it. You can feel its soul.
Yep, you do. And you also get a sense of like, you know, understanding, because it's about, someone cheating on you. But then also when you listen to Marvin's orchestration with the band, when they have his song, it really makes you think about, yeah, well, you know what? I was cheated of, of what's been going on in the world today, right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, not cheering up. If you want cheering up, there was one TV show that started in '68, one that we watched as kids all the way through the '70s. They just had it on rerun. The Banana Splits. That was
Yes.
such iconic TV. The crazy, I don't even know what sort of animals they were. The one with a big trunk, and they had those great like bumper car type things, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were brilliant. 68.
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm. And it was the embodiment, the music, the background music that they played. The style of spoof and merriment and this was through a show for kids. You could really feel that late '60s vibe in that show.
There was a real joy in it, and that's the thing. I think we've talked about some assassinations. We've talked about the war in Vietnam, the race riots in the UK as well, but there was a great deal of fun and happiness as well. So I wanted to mention the Banana Splits because I think for a lot of people they will look and go, "Oh yeah." And if you're lucky, like I was, suddenly just by talking about it, as these things happen, I then get the theme tune pops up in my YouTube channel, and it's like fantastic.
Nick, you were watching those episodes. You were watching those episodes on your free time. Just like, oh, I remember that, and then of course that's why the feed comes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay, Nick. We all have our moments of watching our favorite shows from the past.
Oh,
and yes.
what I'd give to see one of those again. But that was TV back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was good. So next week, Jody, we've got 1969. There's a couple of top tunes coming up there. I'm going to put a request in for Space Oddity, David Bowie.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness!
Any other songs in
because that is a great item. I love the whole Ziggy, but this is Space Oddity. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of my songs I played more than any other. I think growing up
on guitar.
At one stage in my life. No, just on the radio, just on the record.
Oh, I thought you were
on the guitar. Probably. Yeah.
No, that'll be great. Oh, if we could, I'm so looking forward to next week's episode with David Bowie. We're going to see some hits from the Jackson 5 as well. Yes.
Of course.
Baby, I Want You Back. Yes. Oh my goodness.
I Want You Back. I hurt my finger playing that on the bass. That is such a complicated bass line. And my niece, bless her, she gave me a kind of like a toned down version. I Want You Back.
Yeah.
It's great if you can play it. I'll have to practice.
Yes, and you know what? I was talking with Nick earlier, and I just wanted to say we're now on our 5th episode, and we are celebrating our what do we call it, Nick? It's been
month-sery.
Our month-sery, our first one, and we want to thank all. Exactly. Happy month-sery to Needle Drop Nation. We want to thank all of you guys, everybody who's watched our podcast, who's listened to our podcast. We definitely have the link. If you are driving your car busy, you could also listen to our podcast as well as subscribe. Definitely you're in for a treat. Always there's a surprise in every episode, as you know. And also, the excitement of a great playlist that you can connect to,
Yeah,
that celebrates that year through the eyes of Gen Xers.
exactly. It's our ongoing love letter to our youth. And, so thank you,
Absolutely.
Jody, as always.
Thank you, Nick.
Do check out the playlist. It's in the show notes. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple. If you want to leave us a review, a good one, then please do. If you've got any requests for 1969, then do let us know.
Please.
As you know, we played Maria's, we didn't play Maria's, but we included Maria's Hey Jude because she requested it. So we do listen. And Jodie, any closing comments you want to make in a farewell to 68?
Oh, well, let's hope that we see that in 1969, 1970, you know, society, folks make choices that help to bring a better world. I mean, yes, that sounds very altruistic, but we're hoping through, we're going to see in the years ahead, especially in 69, when it's the come together, all about coming together. And we acknowledge the turbulence, we acknowledge the hurt that we saw in 68. 69 is the emergence of coming together.
Ooh, so you don't want to miss it. So stay tuned. Jodie,
Yes.
as always a pleasure doing a podcast with you. Take care,
Likewise,
everybody,
Nick.
and we will see you next week for 1969.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. You're the best.